All right. Good morning, team. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Henry.
So let's get started with some casual updates. Biruk, would you like to kick us off? How are you feeling today?
Feeling great, Henry. Been a while since I stood on the stage. But yeah, my friends were here for their internship, and another friend of mine also joined since I had a family wedding. So I got to hang with them for one day this week. Hopefully over the weekends, I'll be able to catch up more since they're going back next week. So I guess that's one personal touch that I had this week. Other than that, I was just doing work-related stuff, which is great. But yeah, that would be my casual update. Do you want me to nominate?
Yes, please.
All right. Let's start with the in-person people. A lot of new faces. Who do we start with? You. Yes. Yes, please. One moment. Casual updates. Let's start with introducing your name.
Okay.
What group you're on?
Mr. Who?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Abinizar Avarra, group 42 student, and my casual update is, as I am 4th-year student, I was taking exit exam and I am done with exit exam.
Nice.
That's my casual update.
How was it?
It was not bad.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So if this meeting room is full, guys, I've posted the YouTube link down in the chat box. So you can also attend from that part. Emre, should we go for one more casual update?
Yes, please. Two more minutes. Let's get a few more casual updates, and now we will get started.
All right. One more in-person person, and then one more remote. So let's start with the remote people, I guess. Akli. It's been a while since I saw Akli. Akli, see you.
Yes.
Yes. Let's start with introducing your name, what group you're in, and your casual updates. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Akli Lassio, and I'm from group 45. And my casual update is I'm a 4th-year student in ASTU, and now we are on a summer break, and we're about to start our internship in Escalate, and I'm excited for that. But the last 2 weeks, I was doing some lit code questions, and I was as well resting and preparing myself for the internship and the intense camps.
Nice. Any nominees, Akli? One more nominee to give casual updates. You can nominate any person from remote.
Okay, I would say Abeselo.
Abeselo.
Abeselo Nakaet.
Right, Abeselo, where with you? Is Abeselo in the meeting? Abeselo. Maybe one more nominee, Akli?
Okay, I would say Abdurrahman Mustafa.
Abdurrahman. All right. Abdurrahman Mustafa. You're muted.
Hello, guys. I'm sorry, I'm driving right now, but I joined just to listen to attend the program. So I may not be available to speak much.
From my end, you are not very audible, Abdul.
Yes, he said that he's currently commuting, therefore he's not in a comfortable position to talk. And guys, let this be an example. So for such kind of important sessions, you are not supposed to be commuting. Like at A2SV programs, you are supposed to make yourself comfortable so that you can join the session and you can get 100% of it. All right, so maybe we can get started, Biruk. So Tim, I would like to kick off with some sour news. So like based on past performance, we have evaluated all the group 4 students. And like in the picture that we have seen, there were 26 students that we decided to part ways. Because these people, they did not show signs of being A2SV in terms of attendance, in terms of performance, in terms of listening their heads. And as a result, these 26 people are not going to be with us anymore. So some are doing internship through us at Escalate. For those people, we are going to provide a separate internship program. So they are going to get the internship papers if they complete their internship. At the same time, they are not going to be part of our project phase. So I would like to announce these people, and today I'm going to reach out to them individually as well. So who are these people? Zera Buruk Mulune, David Teklu, Amha Kindu, Bereket Lingere, David Teşager, Yakin Teşom, Amanuel Abebe Kebede, Naol Zebene, Tesfa Mariam Amsalu, Meseret Alemnev, Rihana Ersanu Amene, Muluken Hakim, Hiyav Amanuel Tefera, Olyat Temesken Amsalu, Jonas Sisay, Yosef Lakev, Isak Solomon, Yordanos Yadesa, Semere Terefe, Natnael Mekonen, Bisrat Mekonen, Emnet Voldu, Jaal Sabir Reddy, Efrem Alemeyahu, Naul Taye Dibaba, and Haile Adugna. So I'm going to reach out to these people individually as well. So some of them may be part of this kickoff event. That is fine. And as I mentioned, moving forward, these people are not going to be part of A2SV. So let this be a reminder for all of us. Sometimes we may take things we have in hand for granted. A2SV provides tens of thousands of US dollars worth of education for free. And if you choose to not take this seriously, as a result, we are going to put our time, attention, and energy on people who do that. So let's remember this. And in this project phase, especially in the remote part, this requires more of our attention. Because when things are in person, it's easier. We get motivated by each other. And due to circumstances, as you know, there are university entrance and exit exams. We are not able to use the campus of our partner universities. As a result, we are going to do this part remotely. And this requires our extra attention and care to get the best out of it. So I hope we are going to have a successful remote phase, which is going to be part of our education season before we finish the loop. After the project phase, we are going to have camp, and then the interviews are going to be coming. All right. As I said, I'm going to reach out to these individuals one by one. So we are not going to share the full list with you guys. So if you didn't hear your name, that's good news. If you heard your name, I wish you heard us before as well, so that we wouldn't come to this point. All right, let me do this full screen and let's get started. All right, team. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes,
Perfect.
we can see.
Let's get started. Yes, so what is our objective, guys? Empowering you to bring software development to life. So what are we going to cover today? First, we will talk about our objectives and expectations in the project phase. Next, we are going to take a look at the timeline. We have different sub-phases, and we are going to see what is going to happen in each of these sub-phases. Then we will take a look at the content of the orientation phase, and we will remember the roles and responsibilities, our policies. And for Escalate interns, since they have gone through a similar program before, especially in the learning phase, until we jump into development, we are going to have a different path, and we will mention about what is available and what do we expect from them. And finally, we are going to have a Q&A. So, what are our objectives and expectations in the project phase? Number one, we want to develop real-world problem-solving skills. So what do we mean by real-world problem-solving skills? Team, as you know, solving problems on the paper is different than writing implementation. Likewise, implementation is different than solving a real world problem completely. Because your real world problem is going to require some other aspects of, let's say, development that you don't touch as a software or electrical engineering student or computer science student or other departments. So each problem at the beginning has to be understood really well. And depending on what problem you are trying to solve, people that you need to talk to understand the problem differs. If you want to work on something that is relevant with healthcare, you may have to talk with the doctors, nurses, midwives. If your problem requires, let's say, information from pregnant women, you have to do interviews with the pregnant woman. So there is this aspect of product development, which sets the stage for development. And after that, you need to do prototyping to collect feedback on your potential solution idea. Again, this requires communication, connection with the real stakeholders and getting their feedback. So since we have a limited time, some of these parts are going to be done by our business intelligence team, experienced members, and we will give you a baked plan in some aspects. In some aspects, you are going to fill in the gaps. And in some aspects, you are going to do the job from scratch. So when it comes to real development end of things at enterprise level, as you know, there are some practices which probably you didn't make use of before. Documentation is mostly overlooked by junior engineers. Because when we are working with only ourselves and a few more project partners, in the school projects, usually you get grouped together up to 5 people. And those projects, they go to garbage at the end of the semester. So it finishes. So one of the big mental changes that we are going to do is changing this mindset. Think about Google Search team. Google Search is a project that started in 1996, 1997. And that project still goes on. Why? Because it is a successful project. Google Search still, currently there are hundreds of engineers, if not thousands, working on the search problem at Google. So if things go well, your idea flies. If your idea flies, you continue pouring in more resources to get better and better results. Therefore, this is not an ending phase. If the projects you guys are going to do are going to be successful, we will see that there will be more and more to do in the future. So this doesn't have an end. And by developing real-world problem-solving skills, you guys are going to understand these things better. Number two, acquiring industry relevant. This mostly doesn't happen in the school projects. This also doesn't happen in algorithmic problem solving. However, in the enterprise level development at top tech companies, this is a must. I would say 20% of your time is going to go to documentation. 20% of your time is going to go to testing. 20% of your time is going to go to code reviews. And when you think about it, as a student in university, you almost never do code reviews. So this is going to help you develop technical proficiency for enterprise level software development. And all these aspects, we are going to put big emphasis. You will get the learning, you will practice, and then you will apply them in project development. So what is going to be the outcome as a result? You will be contributing to products that are going to see the market light. So it's not easy to take an idea from the ground and then make it market ready. This is going to be a long journey. And in this journey, you are going to develop all these skills, which are going to be appreciated by the top tech companies. And lastly, this is very important, team. Never forget this throughout the program. A2SV is an academy. And our main objective from this phase is not to bring product ideas to the market. Learning first. Because if you develop these skills, if you really understand what I have been talking about, learn them in detail, and learn how to apply in project development, and nothing comes out, let's say none of the projects reach to the market level or finish, this is completely fine. In the project phase this year, we are not trying to finish projects, guys. There is no deadline that we try to reach. We want to put learning as a priority. If you learn this, we will continue working on these products and we are going to get them to the market in the future. Without you learning this, we will never ever get there. So keep this in mind, learning first. Do not sacrifice from the quality and the principles for the sake of making things faster. This is very important too. This also includes interns. For the internship projects, you guys have done that mistake of rushing things out because there was a deadline. We didn't plan well, we didn't execute well in the early days, and in the last week, day and night, we tried to finish things, right? And this made us produce suboptimal products with low quality. So we don't want to get to this state again. Therefore, we put learning first. So our project phase is going to take 3 sub-phases. First, we will start with onboarding phase. So this is the kickoff event. We are going to see what we are going to cover during the onboarding phase as well. And after 2 weeks, the onboarding phase is going to be complete. And we are going to switch to learning phase. So from July 28 to August 20, after choosing our tracks, we will mention what we mean by track later on. We will be learning, developing specific skills that are needed for the track that we choose. We will also build a starter project, which is kind of our playground to learn how we are going to do things in the development phase. And that phase is going to be followed by the development phase, in which we will get assigned to real projects. So some of us are going to get assigned to core dev projects. Some of us are going to get assigned to internship projects. Some of us are going to get assigned to some of us are going to get assigned to new projects. And how is this assignment going to take place? Number one, your school. So we know that when there is an in-person action, this makes things a lot better. Therefore, our initial plan is not to mix the schools at the moment. So AS2 is going to kick off new projects. AIT is going to continue on some of the existing projects, plus also we'll kick off some new projects. And how are you going to get assigned to these projects? We will also talk about that. But just to give you, let's say, the initial picture, you will get some skill assessment tests, and we will also collect your interest. And people are going to get placed according to their scores in the skill set plus interest. What does that mean? Let's say I want to become a mobile developer, and I get the highest score for a mobile development test. I will get the seat, guys. I will get seat for the project that I want if there is a seat. If that project has a mobile engineer seat, as the top scorer, I am going to get the first seat. So this way, we will place all these people based on the needs of the projects as well. And in our internship program, so we had 60-something people, if I remember correctly, and we were able to place above 80% of people to first choice. And except one person, everyone else, so let's say about 19% of people or 18% of people, they got placed to the second choice. Only one person, we had to go to the third choice. So, like, this should give you a good idea that many people, majority of you guys, are going to be placed to your hopefully first choice. And keep in mind, this is all about available seats. If there are no available seats, there is not much we can do. All right, so we are going to get started with going into details of the orientation phase. So, this morning, we are going to learn best practices for Slack. So Slack is the internal tool that we are going to use for internal communication. So through Slack, you can send messages to your teammates. We are going to create channels for different discussions. And with the help of them, you will be able to talk to multiple people at the same time too. So you may ask, hey, Emre, we already have Telegram. Why do we need Slack? The reason is, in your Telegram, in my Telegram, in all our Telegrams, there is so much going on, guys. There are thousands of notifications in some people. And it is very, very hard to keep yourself focused on work-related matters when there is so much distraction coming from all directions. Whereas at Slack, this is a completely different story, because this is a tool that we use solely for internal communication about the project development. Therefore, it will give you focus. And number two, like as you may have noticed, everybody received an A2SV organizational account. So this should be another sign that things are getting serious here. And since you have organizational account and we are going to run these sessions remotely, it is very, very important to understand the importance of calendar use. You need to regulate your day. You need to learn how to effectively manage your time. And one of the tools that is very helpful for that purpose is Google Calendar. So we will also visit effective planning, in which we are going to learn how we should plan our day and week and even some longer time windows so that we can get the best out of ourselves. So today in the afternoon, we will cover Jira task tracking. Jira is a tool that we use for task tracking. When you do things in a team environment, this requires organization and tracking as you know, if you want to get better results in something, you should track yourself so that you know where you are and you can set goals and you can get to better states. And we will also learn the importance of understanding the problem of a product that we are trying to, or the product is trying to solve. So when you want to produce a real world solution with a product, first you need to understand the problem really well. So this is very similar, right? You may be like, hey, Emre, I remember this. The first step of solving a problem is understanding the problem. This is the first step of 7 steps of highly effective problem solving. Yes, you are absolutely right. And in real world context, this fact doesn't change. If you need to provide an effective solution to a problem, you need to first understand the problem really well. So next day, tomorrow, we are going to cover effective communication, effective meetings, and deadline estimation, which are very, very important to develop products or solve real-world problems with a team. And in the afternoon, we are going to learn how to prepare and present effective presentations. And team, on all the Saturdays, we are going to have a contest. So yes, our main focus is going to be project development. Most of our time is going to go to project development. At the same time, do not forget, right after this, we are going to be in a camp, and after that, the interviews are coming. Therefore, we want also your consistency on problem solving. And to help with that, we are going to have Saturday contests. And education squad can think of more. We may potentially have daily problems that you are going to work on out of business hours to keep yourself warm on the problem solving end. So what's coming in the next week? On Monday, we are going to cover Git and GitHub. So we are going to maintain our project repositories on GitHub. So Git is a version control system, and the combination helps us to work as a team effectively. And what are we going to continue with? Like we already mentioned, right, the importance of documentation, testing, and code reviews. And these are coming on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in the next week. So after that, we are going to get started with track introductions. So there are 5 tracks that are going to be available to you guys. And the first one is product management. And on Friday, we are going to get product management orientation. We will have the contest on Saturday. And then we take a look at the next week. On July 24, Monday, we will receive UI UX orientation. On Tuesday, July 25, we are going to get mobile development orientation and web development orientation. On Wednesday, we are going to get backend orientation, and we will receive assessments, skill assessments for product and UI UX. On Thursday, we will receive skill assessments on web, backend, and mobile development. So based on these results and your interest, because we will also collect your interest here, the track announcements are going to be made on Friday. And in the Friday afternoon, we are going to kick off our learning phase. Everybody is going to get assigned to one of these 5 tracks. Based on the needs of the projects, we will have the total number of seats. And you are going to choose your track accordingly. So on Saturday again, that's a classic, we are going to have our contest. So how are the track assignments are going to take place? Again, let's remember by track, what we mean is what is going to be your specialization during the project phase. Are you going to be a product person? Are you going to be a UI UX person? Are you going to do web development, mobile development, backend development? This is going to be decided based on your interest, as well as the skill test you are going to get. So after you complete the assessments in the evening, our core dev members and experienced members are going to evaluate the results. And as a result, we will do the track assessments, and you are going to hear which track you are going to be working on the next day. And again, I would love to remind again, so this is not solely depending on the assessment results. Indeed, your interest and ability both are going to decide which track you will be working on. So we are going to have different roles that are available on the different phases. Again, let's remember, we go through 3 different phases. First, we have the onboarding phase, where we learn the general skills, tools that we are going to use throughout our professional project development. And during the onboarding, everybody is onboarding. There are no specializations. So during the learning phase, as you may guess, roughly speaking, we are going to have about 150 people. So for that reason, roughly speaking, there will be about 30 to 50 people for each track. Not every track is going to require the same number of people. Like, it's not like there will be 30 product people, 30 UI UX people, 30 mobile developer, and so on. So the needs on the development end are higher than the needs on the product and UI UX end. Therefore, you can think of it as 30 to 50 people for each track at a high level. And since like 50 people or even 30 people is still very hard to manage, we are going to divide by the groups as well. So at each group, for each track, we are going to choose a leader. So there will be group 41, mobile development leader, group 42, backend leader, group 42, mobile leader. I think the point is clear, right? During the learning phase, you can either be a track leader or you can be a track member, or group track leader and group track member. So we are going to do our learning specifically in the group for the track. And how are we going to choose these leaders? Again, this is going to be done based on interest and ability. And I highly recommend, if you want to get the best out of this, develop your skills to become a leader. Because when you have responsibility, you learn more. And if you are a leader, you are going to have more responsibility. What is coming next? The development phase. And in the development phase, first, we will have the project leaders. For the new projects that are coming, we are going to choose the project leaders. So that person is going to be responsible for the whole execution of the project development efforts. So this is the highest level of responsibility that you can seek and get. And again, as I have told earlier, you are going to get the best experience. You are going to learn the most if you get the highest role in the hierarchy, which is being a project leader. What is next? Team leader. So for each project, we are also going to compose teams. Let's say there is a project listing. And under listing project, there is project leader, and there are also sub-teams. There is a product squad, UI UX squad, backend squad, mobile squad, and web squad. So each of these squads are going to have team leaders as well. So the second level of leadership role you can take is becoming a team lead. So you can be listing backend team leader, listing mobile team leader, and so on. And next, normal team members. So majority of us are going to be the team members. And if you are not chosen as the leader, do not get discouraged because of the nature of available seats. Not everybody can take leadership seats as of now. And continue developing your skills, because in the near future, when these projects get more people, we are going to be in need of more leaders. And you can start your journey as a team member, and in the near future, by improving your performance with your remarkable skills, you can impress. And whenever a new leadership position is available, you take it. And again, so So everything we do starting from now are going to be taken into account to make these decisions. So if you want to seek team leadership position or project leadership position, definitely pay close attention to all the skills that we try to transfer. It's not just about the hard skills, guys. It's not about how much backend you know. It is also about your communication skills. It is also about your organizational skills, paying attention to details, being proactive, taking ownership, responsibility, and delivering above and beyond quality results. So now let's also cover our responsibilities. During the onboarding phase, we expect your attention and attendance remotely. So our morning sessions are starting at 9 a.m. and they continue until noon, 12 p.m. And we are going to have 2 hours of lunch break. You can get rest, refresh, and we expect you to come back at 2 p.m. And our afternoon sessions are going to continue until 6 p.m. So why this is a little bit more extended than internship? Team, because we have a very limited time window. Like this is July 13, and this phase is going to end early September. Like think about it, we don't even have 2 months. And there are 3 phases: onboarding, learning, and real development. That's why we decided to keep our program a little bit longer in the afternoon so that we can transfer all the know-how and experience we want to. And you can learn more. So we are going to take attendance for all these sessions after 5 minutes. Let's say the session starts at 9 a.m. and you join at 9:06. If you start 6 minutes late or later, you are going to be counted as excused. So we need your timely notification whenever there is a deadline change. If there is a task that is assigned to you and for some reason you are not able to complete it on time, it's okay. This is life. We understand. And you need to notify the rest of the team, your leader as well. Because you need to keep other people in the loop, guys. Maybe up to this point, you were an individual. So the results of what you do were affecting only you. This is changing. Now you are a part of a team. And what you do also affects other teammates. Therefore, we want everybody to show empathy and understand the fact that we need to be very communicative whenever there is a change needed. So number 2, heads ups. You guys already are very familiar with the heads up policy. And we are going to be less tolerant for lack of heads ups, guys. Because if you really love and respect what you do, your teammates and yourself, keep us in the loop. We trust you. This is life. You may get sick. You may have to take care of a family matter. You may have to visit somewhere that may be very urgent. All we ask is you to give a heads up. We are not judging those heads ups. There is no such relaxed policy in anywhere else I have worked for, guys. At Google, at Liftoff, at Palantir, whenever I need to be late for something or I need to not attend something, I had to get the approval of my manager. And at A2SV, we trust you. We trust your judgment. All we are asking is to provide an early heads up. So please use it. At the same time, do not abuse it. And your lack of heads up is going to be taken as a sign of lack of seriousness and lack of care for what we are trying to do. And there will be consequences. So please hear me. Like, do not think about yourself. Like, whenever such kind of situation is happening, there is a very easy testing, which I'm going to share with you now. Imagine everybody does what you do. Let's say I don't show up to this kickoff event without giving a heads up. If everyone else does the same thing, what happens? There won't be A2SV, guys. Let me tell you very clearly. Nobody shows up. There won't be A2SV. So you can amplify a behavior to test whether it is a good behavior or not. So please provide the heads up, early heads up, ideally 30 minutes before the event, regarding your non-attendance if something comes up. We understand this is life. And communicate. We are not oracles. We are not future tellers. We are not psychic readers. I cannot tell what is going to happen in your life unless you tell me. Therefore, communicate. And choose over communication over under communication, team. This is a rule of thumb that we have to use at A2SV. It is okay if you over communicate something. I'm not going to judge you. Hey man, why are you saying this? No. Thank you. I will be thanking because you are informing. Other people are going to understand the situation better if you over communicate. Under communication is very risky. Again, as I said, we are not mind readers. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have that ability. You may have. If that is the case, you are a very exceptional person. Do not forget, majority of your teammates, including myself, we are not mind readers. We are not future tellers. Therefore, you need to communicate what is happening in your life to us. Next. So when we look at the responsibilities in the learning phase, the group track leaders are going to supervise and guide the team members. You are the leader. You are not solely responsible for your own performance. You are also responsible for your teammates' performance. And you are going to be monitoring the progress of the starter projects as well. If you remember, the learning phase, we are divided to tracks, not into specific projects. So everybody in their respective groups are going to be working on a starter project. So this is our playground, this is our warm-up. And still, if we do not take this seriously, how are we going to perform in the real stage? That's why we take it very seriously. And in the learning phase, track leaders are going to monitor the progress of the starter projects as well. And they are going to ensure and communicate with the team members so that they are going to have at least 85% real attendance. How about the group track members? If you are not a leader in the learning phase, then you are a normal member. So we expect you to maintain regular attendance. Again, our goal is being 85% or above in real attendance. And when you are more than 5 minutes late to a session, you are excused for that session. Therefore, this is not going to be counted as attendance. So please, please, please watch your clock. Especially in Ethiopia, this is a problem for many people. And let's solve this, guys. We do not want to have more than 5 minutes delay. And this is a remote program. There is no, hey, I have been commuting, there is traffic, manama, in the first part. And in the second part, regulate yourself. Yes, there can be traffic. Leave early. Abrahot opens at 8 a.m. I'm sure at ASU, we will be also opening early. So, what is next? Successfully completing assigned learning materials. If you just say yes, 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 things are going to be visible in the skill test, guys. Let's say you also cheated on the skill test. Who is going to do the implementation? ChatGPT? It's not doing it that well, guys. If you know what you are doing, ChatGPT is an amazing tool to use, to collaborate. And we are going to utilize generative AI in our development efforts as well. Like, we are not against technology. We adapt and collaborate with technology. It increases development time remarkably. You can achieve great things a lot in a lot shorter time with the help of generative AI, and we will take full advantage of it. Indeed, in our learning phase, we will also learn about tools, generative AI tools that are going to help us development efforts as well. And lastly, obviously, we expect you to actively participate in the group sessions. So don't be just like a plant. Be an active contributor of these sessions. So what are our policies? Let's remember our working hours. In the morning from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., Habesha time 3 to 6. And in the afternoon, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. So team, like morning hours are called as AM in English. And afternoon hours are called as PM. So the confusion happens at 12, right? So the noon is 12 PM and the beginning of the day is 12 AM. So this is something that is not very clear because Habesha time is different, right? There is 6 hours shift and there is no AM PM concept as it is in English exactly. And for that reason, sometimes we can get confused. So I want to make this clear for all of us. Again, morning hours are AM, starting from midnight, 12 AM, until noon, 12 PM. It's like 1 AM, 2 AM, 3 AM, 9 AM, and so on. And in the afternoon, after noon, at 12, it switches to PM. So it is 12 PM at exact noon. And then we have 1 PM, 2 PM, and so on. So in our afternoon program, it is 2 PM to 6 PM, and Habesha time, it is from 8 to 10. So obviously, unless you have something important, we expect you to attend all the sessions, guys. So that's why our desired attendance is 100%. And the minimum attendance expectation, real attendance expectation, is 85%. Especially ours two people. If you want your internship to be counted, please pay attention to this because we don't want to have a conversation if by the end of the season, if your attendance is less than 85%, then this is incomplete in our records. Remember this. And it's not something new. As you know, in the previous A2SV efforts, this was the case. And check-in and check-out times for the events are going to be recorded. There are some Chrome extensions. You can easily record people's check-in, check-out times for the meetings. And we will be recording and tracking this. So early heads-up policy. Each track, each group is going to have a place to write their heads-ups on Slack. So you can think of these as Telegram groups. And 30 minutes prior to the event, we expect your heads-up in case of something is happening and you are not going to be joining. So likewise, regarding task deadlines, if anything needs to change, again, we expect a timely notification. Do not forget, you are not a single cell anymore. You are part of a big body. And you are responsible for the rest of the cells and other organs as well. And finally, team, this is a learning environment. We really want you to develop these skills that you are going to need to become a meaningful and impactful part of the real global digital workforce. So that's why we are paying this much close attention to professionalism. And you can seek and provide feedback at each phase. Like when you see something that I am doing suboptimal, warn me. Have a conversation with me. Likewise, if I see something that you are doing suboptimal, I am going to do that. We are here to learn. We are here to help each other. Let's not forget about that. Therefore, seeking and providing feedback at each phase, at everything we do is very, very important. Feel responsible for your brother, sister, your teammate. That's the only way we can increase our learning pace. And if you do that, you will realize that our biggest asset is each other team. These things are impossible to do by yourself. You cannot become a team player by individual training. Keep that in mind. And to become the best contributor, you need to be a great team player. To become the best leader, you need to be a best team player. These things are highly related. Think about it. If you are not a good team player, how are you going to lead your team in a great manner? Next, for Escalate interns. You guys have done a great job and learned some of the principles that we are going to cover during the orientation and learning phases. That's why you have some different responsibilities. During the orientation phase, when our normal project phase attendees are going over their program to learn the best practices in different things, you guys are going to pay the price of not paying attention to some of the important aspects of real-world problem solving and enterprise-level software development that we didn't pay enough attention during the internship. Which are those? Number 1, documentation. Number 2, testing. Number 3, code reviews. So what does that mean? It means no new features, team. Because first we have to raise the bar. Currently, the bar is nowhere close to enterprise level development. Even in our demonstrations, sometimes things go wrong. And there is no way we can launch such kind of products to the real user, end user. Therefore, during the orientation phase, our returning interns are going to increase the bar in terms of documentation, testing, and code reviews for the existing code base of the projects. And we are not going to be introducing any new features. And during the learning phase, you guys are going to contribute as mentor for other teammates because you have gone through this already. You get some familiarity with the technologies that you are using. So returning interns, you guys are going to stay on the same track. You can choose, you can change your project. However, you are going to stay on the same track. If you were the backend person, you are going to stay as backend person. If you were a mobile person, you will stay as mobile person. And you will continue working on documentation, testing, and code reviews to raise the bar and bring it to the enterprise level development until the end of the learning phase. So what is coming next? Next, we will all switch to development phase. So first, we are going to make a project selection. So there are some seats that will be available in the core dev projects. We have 6 core dev projects. There are some seats that will be available in the internship projects. We have 3 internship projects. And we are going to launch some new projects too, guys. So there are about 7 hot ideas that are currently under consideration by the business intelligence team. So their initial product management work is going to be done until the end of the learning phase. And when we get to the beginning of the development phase, we are going to have clear roadmap and agenda for development for these new ideas as well. Again, for us too, we are going to start with the new projects. For AAIT, we have the core dev projects, internship projects, and new projects. And our development is going to be 3 weeks, right? You may be like, hey, Emre, this is a little too little to deliver something. Yes, that's very true. That's why. Remember our objective, learning first. We do not expect you to deliver real-world solutions at the end of this program, guys. We expect you to learn how to work on and how to get close to delivering these projects to the real world. And after our 3 weeks of development, as you know, we are going to have a short break and our camp is going to start. And after the camp, we are going to have potential part-time development opportunities. So these projects are not going to be thrown into garbage, guys. We will do our best to fly these ideas. And therefore, we will continue working on development after the camp. Yes, now it's time for questions. So please raise your hand if you have a question. And we are going to open a queue. Yes.
Emre, students, yes, they've been writing it down on a Google Doc. It's shared in the chat box. So maybe we can start from there and then we can go to the verbal questions.
And if you have an ad hoc question on the moment, please raise your hand. If not, we are going to cover the questions from the document. Yes, questions for the project phase. Number 1, how will the projects be evaluated and judged? So again, team, what is different in this project phase? So there won't be project evaluation or judgment in the classic manner. So based on progress, we may choose to reward some of the projects. That is not 100% decided yet. However, we do not expect you to deliver something. And what we have seen in the previous project phases, or previous internship phases, when we put a reward in the internal milestones, people drop the best practices. Therefore, what we want to do this time is rewarding projects when they see the market light. So we are putting the reward to the end of the real marathon. So at the end of the project phase, you are not going to gain something big. So if there are extraordinary performances from some individuals, we can choose to reward those people. However, this is not going to be done at the project level. Why? Again, what happened, guys? We have gone through this cycle many times at A2SV so far, and at every single time, people drop best practices, including the internship phase. So if you look at the code bases, if you have conversation with the returning escalate interns, they are going to tell you, and they will try to find reasons why they didn't write tests, why they didn't do documentation, why they didn't give true code reviews. Because like the student culture, especially in Ethiopia, is leaving things close to the deadline. And when the deadline is coming, putting hard work. And we want to change this, guys. Because it makes no sense to show something to people, but in the background having so much dust, dirt. This is not real world problem solving. And that's why we want to put the reward mechanism to the right place. When the projects see market, we are going to give very generous rewards. Can you provide information about the availability and allocation of dormitories? Yes. In the month of July, as you know, there are university entrance and exit exams. Indeed, this is going to take potentially some time from the beginning of August as well. And when the school is not open for anybody else but people who are going to take the exams, also we cannot take place from the school. Therefore, from beginning till mid-August, our partner schools are going to provide dormitories and lab spaces. As soon as we have more information about this, we are going to share this with you guys. And once the school campus becomes available again, and then we are going to get these places, and you guys are going to return back to campus. So right now, expect sometime either in the middle of learning phase or by the end of learning phase to return to school. So my expectation is sometime between August 8 to August 15. And again, this is not a confirmed date. Hopefully, we are going to get more information from our partner schools soon, and then we will let you know. At the same time, keep in mind, this is Ethiopia, guys. Such timelines may be pushed. Like there are sometimes things that happen unexpectedly. Like 2 days ago in the electrical engineering exit exam time, there was a power outage and there were no backup for generators. Some students were moved from one campus to another. So these are given circumstances. We are not here to complain about the circumstances. We are here to make things better, guys. Do not forget. Some of us may not have high-spec computers required for .NET and mobile development. Are there any plans to address this issue? So, team, depending on circumstances, like now we are about to receive some laptop donations from Liftoff. If things work out and we can bring them in a quick manner to Ethiopia, we can distribute some hardware. And if that is not the case, then you are going to choose tracks that are not requiring high-spec computers that you can do the development with your existing laptops. So why? Because at the moment we are running on a tight budget, team. So far we have provided some computers to some of teammates already in need. At the same time, like we are running out of budget for this. Therefore, I cannot guarantee to anybody that we will buy new computers, but I can guarantee that we can find some tracks that are going to be okay to work on with your existing computer. What factors influence the choice of .NET for backend development over alternatives like Django and Node.js? Scalability, team. Because for enterprise software development, you need to think of scalability. We are not just developing for now, we are developing for future. And .NET gives us the scalability needs that we have. That is very hard to satisfy with some other alternative technologies. This is not our choice. This is suggested by our technology advisor, Mr. Ismail Duran, who is a CTO of the largest software enterprise company in Turkey. And he is running an organization with thousands of engineers. And he has plenty of over 25 years experience in the industry. Based on his suggestion, we choose this tech stack. Can escalate interns switch teams or projects? Yes and no. Yes, for the projects. You can start working on a new project idea. At the same time, we want you to stick with your existing track. Why? Because you didn't have enough experience to become an expert in your field. So we want you to spend at least 3 more months on development so that you can nail it. And then you will have an opportunity to switch teams as well. So if you are, let's say, a backend developer on Rideshare, you can become a backend developer on Hakim Hub or another project. However, you will still be a backend developer. Why? As I said, we want you to nail backend development first. So will there be criteria for joining specific development team? Yes. If so, what factors will be considered? Your performance in the skill assessments and as well as your activity in the education sessions. So we will look at all the factors, guys. Your attendance, your attention, your performance. And based on that, there will be a score. And with that score, you will get the priority. It's like the university entrance exam. Or let's say department selection exam at the end of the first year. If your grades are great, then you can go to the department that you want. If your grades are lower, then the capacity of some of the departments may be full before it comes to your turn. It's going to be very similar. Can you explain the team selection process and types of things are going to be relevant to that track, guys? So we are not going to ask you questions about football or fashion when we are giving you backend SS test. The questions are going to be relevant to the track for which you are taking the assessment test on. What are the benefits of participating in projects with A2SV, such as job opportunities or other skill building benefits? So team, we give you the opportunity of becoming a meaningful part of enterprise level software development. Like you are going to do this after you join to the top tech companies. So for many people, you may think that, oh, let me join Google, we will figure the rest. I mean, this is similar to thinking, oh, let me join Addis Ababa University, we will figure the rest. What happens when you join Addis Ababa University or A2SV? You realize that this is actually the beginning of a new chapter in your life. It's not the end. Right? The university entrance exam, when you are in high school, it seems like that's the end. That's the end line of the marathon. In life, it's a very big marathon. You just switch phases. It's not the end of the marathon. So when you participate in project development efforts at A2SV, you get your real world problem solving as well as some. You will find yourself on the stage giving speech to people. Do performance tracking for other members, having conversations, facing with issues that you would never ever face in other companies up until like 3-5 years in your career. And what else? So these projects, some of the project as well. So we expect them to become standalone companies in the future. So you will become a founder, you will become an entrepreneur, you will become an early employee. And if your project picks up, you will also definitely gain some financial benefits from this too. Will the assessment take place before or after we become familiar with technologies used in our desired team? How can beginners join the backend team if they have no experience with .NET? That's a very good question. So team, we will give you the track introductions. And after that, we will give you the skill tests. So if you don't have any experience, and there are so many people who have a lot more experience in backend development, then those people will be prioritized over you. Why this is the case? Because at the end of the day, we also want to create meaningful contribution. So is it still possible for you to join backend track if you don't know any, if you don't have any backend experience? Yes. So you can start like in your free time during the onboarding phase. You can start learning about these technologies, and then in the skill test you can shine better. Will interns' prior experience with .NET give them unfair advantage over students without experience? No, it's not an unfair advantage, guys. It's a fair advantage. Like when you guys join Addis Ababa University or A2SV, some of you guys knew more math than others. And you get a math exam by the end. And this has given them fair advantage because somehow they have developed those skills early on. So for that reason, I wouldn't call this an unfair advantage. Can you provide more details on what aspects are assessed during the assessments? Technical aspects are assessed during the assessments, guys. Again, we are not going to be asking you about the story of how Manchester City had a treble last season. The questions are going to be highly relevant to the technologies that you will be working on. So is the remote development after we finish going to be selective? I guess this is about after finishing the project phase, because there won't be remote development, guys. If you look at the timeline, when we get to the development, we will be in person. So even for the future, I wouldn't call this remote development. It's going to be development, and when we have the part-time development, we will have the space in A2SV as well as in Abrahot. Therefore, this is going to be in-person development. Is it going to be selective? Yes. Because for each project, there will be limited number of seats available. Is Abrahot open to students who do not have a suitable place to attend remotely from home? Yes. Team, you are highly recommended. If you have the means of coming on time for the sessions to Abrahot, you can do that. We already have some people, like our teammates, whose families are living in areas where there are some security issues. They are currently staying in Addis. And if there are other members who are living in Addis who want to come to Abrahot to have some synergy, feel free to do that. Is it possible to be part of two different tracks, such as UI, UX, and front-end team simultaneously? So this is only the case for UI, UX, and some front-end development. So since in the earlier days, there is more UI, UX need, and in the later days, there's less UI, UX need and more front-end development needs. This can only be the case for some UI, UX members. Again, like this is not guaranteed. This really depends on the needs. However, there are combinations. Like you cannot be a mobile and a web developer or mobile and backend developer simultaneously. Why? Because we want you to ace one thing first, guys. In a team environment, ace becoming a backend developer, ace becoming a UI, UX member. And then you are going to be able to switch to other tracks. All right. So for the on-the-fly questions, is there anybody who raises a hand? Okay, looks like there are no on-the-fly questions. Fitsum, do we have any questions in the office?
Yes, Emre. We don't have any questions here.
All right. In that case, we are going to finish very quickly, team. So let's go back to our slides. And this is a classic at A2SV. Quote of the day. Today's quote comes from Martin Luther King. And he says, education without principles is like a ship without a compass. So that's why. Let's stick with our principles and rules, team, so that our ship is going to have a destination as well as a compass that is going to help us to find the right route to reach to that destination. Thank you very much for your time and attention. This was my pleasure to go over our slides. and provide you information about our upcoming project phase. Frankly speaking, I'm very excited because the last internship phase have shown us that we have a very huge potential as we get more professional and professional. Our learning pace is pretty high in these phases. So please bring your best and let's get the best out of this phase. Okay, Sayane, do you have a question?
No. That was a mistake.
No worries. All right, team. Thank you very much. Please enjoy your time and learn with a high pace. So hope to see you soon. Take care.
All right. Thank you very much, Emre.
So maybe, Fitsu, we can inform the team about what's coming next. So do they see the event on their calendar, how they are going to join the best practices event?
Yes, so about that. So guys, we are going to have 5 to 10 minutes break before we move on to the next session. And during that time, we want to take in what we have discussed about so far. And also invitations have been sent for the organization emails. So you guys can set that up before the next session. And also invitations have been sent for the best communication practices for using Slack and calendar. And we are going to join that meeting. All right? Yes, I hope that's clear.
Perfect.
See you in 10 minutes, guys.
See you.